Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Mike Montecalvo, along with Eyewitness News analyst Lieutenant General Reginald Centracchio. And General, we'll just get right to it. Thursday is a big day for the United States military, and I guess you could say for around the world, because we're going to find out this timetable of pulling troops out of Afghanistan, if it's actually going to happen.
Well, I think the concept will happen. I'm not sure that it will be sustained as to what we're looking for right now about the end date. Because of the several reasons. First, and I think foremost, is the WikiLeaks release had some impact on the credibility that Ambassador Holbrooke had with Pakistan and Afghanistan. That may have some significant possibilities that we would have to change the actual time frame. But I think it'll continue to be start to be drawn down. Whether it will in fact meet the actual deadline as to what Obama's administration is looking to is yet to be seen. I think we'll see that over the next several months.
Well, this report is, months of data, General. Richard Holbrooke just passed away over the last week. How much of an impact do you think that will really have at this point?
Well, I think it may have some impact because I think the credibility to sustain the drawdown has much to do with the ability of Afghanistan and Pakistan to be able to cooperate with each other and to take down the Taliban between right on the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And once that credibility has been damaged, as it has been, we need to look at perhaps an adjustment to the strategy because we need to depend on Pakistan to allow us to continue to use strikes within their border.
Are they afraid of ground troops or U.S. ground troops going in there?
I think that's one of the major concerns that was addressed through the WikiLeaks release. That is that there's a major concern on the part of Pakistan that once they allow us to go in and go beyond the airstrikes, once we bring ground troops in, I think that would be a real sore subject to be able to overcome. So that's a major concern about having to maintain the credibility that was established and now is somewhat damaged.
What do you expect out of this report tomorrow? More of the same?
I think you'll see the same. I think the bottom line, when it's all said and done, will be, can we see Afghanistan maintaining its own security? If that isn't the bottom line, then all else is just a lot of superfluous words and study. But that will be the last sentence, I believe, in the whole report. We'll be able to sustain the drawdown, providing Afghanistan can, in fact, maintain its own physical security, both military and civil.
What formula are we looking at to see if they can actually sustain all of this?
Once again, it has to do with the credibility and the viability of its own military. So far, that hasn't been very good. We establish a training program with the United States and the United Nations to be able to go in and build up the Afghan army. Then you go and look at it several months from now, and you find that much of the leadership has gone elsewhere, and many of the troops that were within that first look-see have gone other places. So I think to depend on the sustainability of the Afghan forces is really the major question, and it's not been too stable over the last several months.
General, you got to wonder, a conversation around the table, we're talking about Afghanistan, if, when this report comes out, how much did North Korea, South Korea, what's going on around the world come into play with all of this? So they actually look at that and say, we might need some of these soldiers somewhere else?
Absolutely. We need to keep in mind, United Nations is a good word. But when it comes to actual ground troops to be able to support whatever resolution or whatever plan comes out of the United Nations, it's always the United States. We are at the point now where I don't think we can, in fact, commit more troops to anywhere else in the world on the basis of being able to have a long, sustained operation. Now, we have many troops in South Korea. That's not enough to be able to deal with North Korea. Simultaneously, we're looking at the possibility of China entering into that scenario. And, of course, Taiwan is always part of this, too. Would we be able to sustain China telling us, we'll help you in North Korea, but you have to get out of Taiwan? Are we going to be able to honor our commitment to Taiwan with the same amount of troops we have in South Korea? Huge question, and certainly your point is, do we have enough troops to sustain Iraq, Afghanistan, and other parts of the world where we need to have large ground troops? Real big question.
So what do you think the wrinkle could be in all of this tomorrow?
The wrinkle could be that we're not going to be able to sustain the timetable to draw the troops as we initially thought because of the sustainability of and the viability of Afghan forces.
What about some local troops? We have more going out after the first?
Yeah, we do. We have, I think we'll round up to about 800 troops sometime after the first of the year. I think we have about 500 out right now and another 300 or so scheduled to be deployed from January on through March.
You know, we've talked about this, we talked about this before Thanksgiving, and how difficult it is for families knowing that loved ones are not just out at Christmas and Thanksgiving, but also going out the first of the year. It kind of weighs on them.
It is, and it certainly weighs. You know, you look at the celebration, you look at upcoming Christmas, you look at the New Year, and you know, New Year is supposed to look at the positive aspects of family to some extent. But when you know that the New Year is going to separate the family, that's not something that you look forward to, obviously. So I think what we're looking to is having a real strenuous time on those families for the 800 soldiers that are still deployed and will be deployed this coming year.
What's been the most positive thing so far this year for the U.S. military? What's been going on overseas?
You know, I think the sustainability, we've been able to continue our drawdown of troops in Iraq is a good positive area. The fact that we haven't seen anything of significance continue with North Korea. The scary part is that China is always part of this equation. The launching of that missile a few weeks ago, in my opinion, had much to do with them demonstrating to North Korea that they are on their side, and to demonstrate to us that they do have the capability to strike the western part of the United States. Those are all, you know, rattling the sword kinds of things, and I think the positive thing is we haven't seen any escalation of that.
All right, what's going to happen with the don't ask, don't tell policy at this point?
This coming week should be a showdown. The House is voting on it, and I think they're going to force the Senate to follow suit. I'm not sure if that'll happen because you have a lame duck Senate. You have a majority now that would probably look to not repealing it so much as at least having further debate on it. Whether it can be sustained and be repealed totally is going to be a huge question. If you look at the armed forces themselves and Admiral Mullen, they're in favor. But at the same time, you have several chiefs of staff of the Army, as an example, and the Marines that are against the policy. So I think it'll be open for debate for several months to come.
So you think with the new Congress coming in January, we might see something totally different?
I think so. I think you'll see a combination. I think you'll see, I'm not quite sure what, but I don't think you see an absolute repeal of it. I don't think you see a sustainment of what we have right now.
You know, you travel a lot, General, and you see a lot of people who have been in the military before. What are retirees talking about with this topic?
You know, the retirees come from a different age, a different era, such as myself. You accepted things, you accepted a culture at the time. Having gays serve in the military was something that just wasn't accepted. And therefore, when Clinton administration came in, he put in the don't ask, don't tell. But at the same time, that abuses the very essence of what we are and what we're standing for. You can't ask people to lie, and then you can't back up that lie further. So what's the option? You allow them to serve openly. If you allow them to serve openly, then you need to be concerned about the existing culture and how long it's going to take to overcome that culture being changed and not having any impact on the readiness of the overall military.
Okay, General, as always, thank you for your thoughts.
See you. Have a good one.
Okay, and thanks for watching.